As Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 6 begins, the sun is rising over a perfect Montana day and the Yellowstone cowboys are hard at work during the gathering. John, Beth, and Rip take a breather to enjoy the sunrise, but Beth can't help but ruin it for her father with her quipping, leading Rip to tell her,
"Honey, you got a mean streak as big as this damn valley."
Over on the Broken Rock Reservation, series MVP and Security Lieutenant Mo is thrust into an apocalyptic scenario as swarms of military and police arrive for an event he and Chairman Thomas Rainwater know nothing about. The officers shoot 2 dogs, chaos ensues, and to Mo, such colonizer commotion can mean only one thing: the President of the United States is coming to Broken Rock. Angela Blue Thunder later confirms this to be true before revealing she is the Director of Native American Affairs for this sitting U.S. President. Her Season 5 plan to dethrone Rainwater becomes clearer and far more viable as she presents her candidate, the indigenous protester from outside Rainwater's casino earlier in the season. We then catch up with Jamie as he's waking up in bed next to good old Sarah Atwood, who's been weaseling her way into Jamie's heart, or pants, throughout Season 5. But the insecure, or not totally daft, we can't decide which, Jamie knows Sarah has an ulterior motive, which she does and admits to. Assassinate John Dutton's character, get Jamie to replace him as governor, push Market Equity's airport through, and do it all through him. Small plan, right? Thanks to some shower sex, Jamie is, ready to oblige further. All of this, however, reminds us immediately of Beth telling Jamie how much he reeks of desperation back before Market Equities ever came to town in Season 2, Episode 3, fittingly titled, The Reek of Desperation.
You reek of desperation, and they can smell it.
And 3 seasons later, the Duttons' fiercest enemies are sinking their claws into Jamie, literally thanks to Sarah. Back on the ranch, Monica and Summer, who's still sporting the hefty bruises of her brawl with Beth, get to know each other. Within, Monica sticks up for Beth, as Beth has always stuck up for her, despite their heritage being at odds. And it all takes place from a wagon camp straight out of 1883, where real-life Yellowstone cook Gator makes another return preparing a feast fit for a king. Or a governor. Not long after, Monica finds Summer in the family graveyard, where she's exploring the centuries of Dutton burials before spotting the freshly built burial mound of Monica's second son, Baby John. Fascinatingly, this scene also reveals the gravestones of 1883's James, Margaret, and Elsa Dutton for the first time. Each gives off a blood-stained appearance, signaling their violent legacy we'll learn more about in 1923. Meanwhile, Casey is all smiles as he teaches his son, Tate, the Dutton way of life. John's old friend, Emmett Walsh, played by Buck Taylor of Gunsmoke and many a Western fame, and who's been in Yellowstone since the pilot, is along for the ride as promised by the episode prior, and the gathering is truly a perfect day for all, including Beth and Rip, who get an entire episode of happiness, which just feels weird for some reason. Rip then takes Beth to the perfect spot, a stunning meadow, revealing that this is the place he initially planned to marry her, before she rushed their Yellowstone Season 4 wedding. So Rip pulls out a flask and some cigarettes for her, confirming what we already knew: Rip is really the perfect husband.
I don't need anything else. Cigarettes, whiskey, a meadow, and you.
And this line is where the episode gets its name. We then catch up with John and Emmett as they settle in for the night under a tree far older than either of them. They wax poetic about the truly perfect day they've had and fall asleep far more hopeful for the future of Montana. But little did either know that this would be Emmett's last sunset. A moving montage of the next sunrise follows as John wakes up, then tries to wake his old friend, but Emmett's not waking. He appears lifeless and cold even from a distance, and John can see that the old cowboy, one of his oldest allies, has died in his sleep.
He didn't wake up, he just died on the trail, like every cowboy dreams it.
John and Clara ride like the wind and make it back to the ranch's big event to tell Emmett's wife before she sees his riderless horse return. John then breaks the news to Mrs. Walsh, and she sobs on the governor's shoulder, during which the local news crew covering the gathering shifts their focus from the festivities to this moment. As the episode winds down, Senator Linnell Perry joins the event, leading to a hilarious love triangle with Summer. John then jokes of his failed attempts to wrangle women to his own dance floor before Linnell reveals that she actually would in fact marry him if he were less charming and more sensible. Linnell spells out John's wildly irresponsible decision to commute Summer's sentence to his own home too, which feels a whole lot like foreshadowing. Afterwards, we see the return of country star Lainey Wilson as Abby, who gives a performance that's followed by Yellowstone's original Music Man, Oscar-winning Ryan Bingham as Walker. Even Orphan Carter gets to dance as his Season 5 love interest Haley is finally introduced, played by newcomer Orly Gottesman. But all that foreshadowing from the news crew and Linnell's wise words take hold before the episode ends. Jamie and Sarah end up watching the news coverage when they see John comforting Emmett's wife in the wake of his death. And instead of damning Governor Dutton for not visiting the U.S. president at Broken Rock, the news anchors declare the governor was right where he's supposed to be as he comforted his people. Public opinion of John will now be more positive than ever. Jamie scowls at the screen, admitting to Sarah that his adoptive father is difficult to beat in a fair fight.
I don't think we can let him show up to the fight, Jamie.
And with that ominous line, Sarah, if that is her real name, ends the episode on a grim note as damning music swells in the background.
Remember to comment your favorite or least favorite moment of this episode, like this video, and subscribe to Outsider for more Yellowstone episode reviews.